entrepreneurs, movers and shakers in the industry. Welcome to the People of Power Show, hosted and created by
Stephanie.
London.
Oh, okay. This is cute. You wrote your own song?
Hey, Misha.
Talented, girl.
Yeah, you know, when you're the only child,
The People of Power Show.
it helps a lot. The People of Power Show. Thank you, everyone. And let me just start doing my sharing. If you are there watching and joining us this evening, I thank you for joining us on this 7 o'clock-ish edition of the People of Power. Normally, I do 8 o'clock. But when you're sitting with the county administrator, also known as the CEO of Palm Beach County, you get it when you can get it. Right? She's looking at me like, yes, man. Hey, Nisha. Hey, everybody. So please make sure, again, you hit the share button. Hey, Celicia. Hey, everyone. We were just doing some girl talk, and I didn't know that we had so much, in common of knowing people in the area. So I'm just happy. She looks beautiful tonight. I'm like, you dressed up all up for me.
Just for you.
The People of Power Show. Hey, isn't she beautiful? So I want to make sure that everyone again shares, and let me just make sure that I'm sharing with the People of Power. So I know you're not on Facebook, but you have fans and you have people that adore you. They will probably just tune in just because you're sitting next to me. So I'm just going to do a quick intro for the people that don't know who I am. I am Kitty London, host and creator of the People of Power Show, and every week I sit down with movers and shakers, CEOs, entrepreneurs, some celebrities, community leaders, people who are just doing amazing things in the community. And I was told numerous times that I needed to sit with you. So this is ordained.
Okay.
The last time we met, we were on the stage together at the Kravitz Center. And kudos to Tanya Davis-Johnson, who was one of the biggest cheerleaders. And it's like, you got to get her. She loved her so much that she actually spoke about her in my intro. Right? I'm like, okay, well, that means I really have to sit. Okay. Avenke, hey, hello, how are you? Hey, Corey Nearing. So again, just make sure that you please share this video because she doesn't do this often. I just want to show you this is how we look on camera.
Okay.
See, I look chubbier than you do. So we're all good.
Yeah.
So I want to do I call it a quick background check.
Okay.
She has a quite extensive bio, very impressive. But I want to just make sure that we kind of just get to know who you are.
Okay.
As an individual.
All right.
Okay, and then we'll get up to all this CEO talk.
Absolutely.
All right, and if you have any questions, hey, Celicia, if you have any questions that she can answer them. And if she can't answer them, then she just won't answer them. And that's just, unfortunately, the way the business has to go. Okay? All right, so you're getting some views up there. People want to see you. But, yeah, you have a big title. So I just wanted people to know that she is actually... When you say CEO, that means you are the captain of the ship for all of Palm Beach County. That's a pretty big ship.
That is.
All right, lady in red. All right, so we're gonna do a born and raised.
Okay. Actually, I was born in Georgia.
Okay.
But I left Worth County, Georgia, Sylvester, Georgia.
Okay.
And within a year, I was in Fort Pierce. So I was really raised in Fort Pierce, about an hour north of here.
Okay.
And grew up, I was the oldest of 6 kids. And so I was the second mom because my mom and dad worked a lot of hours to provide for 6 kids. And we had a very close-knit, extended family. And so I come from a very large, extended family where family means a lot.
Okay.
And so to me, family means a lot. I believe that we were raised as God-fearing people. And so I know where my help comes from. I know my source of divine power.
Okay. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
Amen. All right now.
And so I am also an ordained deacon.
Oh, really?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
and
so you have some favor.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
and every day he shows me that favor
Okay.
because there are days that I call on him quite often.
Yeah.
So, raised there. I went to elementary school, Fort Pierce Central High.
Okay.
Fighting Cobras, go.
Okay.
And then I went to Florida State University.
Oh, FSU.
FSU.
Okay.
Undergrad and graduate school.
What did you major in?
Undergrad, I was rehabilitative counseling because I wanted to help people that had various physical disabilities. And then I went back and received a master's degree in public administration, emphasis in budgeting.
Okay. I knew the budgeting had to come. That's why I was asking. Because you were known as the number cruncher, budget queen. So I'm like, did you always like math? Did you?
I did.
So let me ask you, when you were when you got your first like checkbook, and were you that one that was like checks and balances and make sure everybody in the house was
Well, not really.
Really? Oh, okay.
I just knew that, when we were growing up, we were poor. I didn't know we were poor.
Okay.
Until I went off to college. We always had food. We made our clothing, so sewing is my hobby. I relax, and we made clothing. My mother taught me to sew. And, we made clothing for family and friends, and I learned to do hair. Okay. So I had a few little skills that I utilized in
I'm seeing the fashionista spirit here. The hair and somebody actually did compliment you on the hair. I just meant to.
Thank you.
The hair.
Well, I have to give a shout out to my hairdresser if that's okay.
Oh, of course.
And that's Sabrina Petro.
Okay.
And she's
Shout out
at
to
Salon
Sabrina Petro.
86.
Okay.
Off of Military Trail and Community Drive.
Okay.
So she's awesome.
Okay, great.
But I also, I graduated from grad school. My first job was in Broward County as a budget analyst. And so I left Broward County and went to work after 3.5 years. I worked for Florida Power and Light for 1.5 years. In their management rotation program. And then I got a job with Palm Beach County.
Okay.
And so I've been with Palm Beach County. Last October, I celebrated 35 years of being with Palm Beach County.
Ooh, that's a long time.
Yeah, I got married in 84. So
Okay.
I moved to Palm Beach County in 84 after marrying my husband, Joe Baker, who I grew up with in Fort Pierce.
Okay.
And then we got married, and he was already here, so I moved here. I love Palm Beach County. It is a very good county.
And when I was looking at your bio, it seems like most of the places that you were in, you made it up to management or some type of director or something. So I always ask people, especially who've done it multiple times, and people who are watching, they may be at a job and they may like, well, you know what, I don't want to just be just on this level. I definitely want to move up the chain. I want to be a boss,
Right.
so to speak. Do you have any tips for people who are looking? It doesn't matter what role they're in, but just looking to go up the ladder.
I would say, and I say, I've been with Women of Tomorrow for quite a few years.
Okay, shout
and
out
so
to Women of Tomorrow.
I did mentor at Palm Beach Lakes for a very long time, at least 10 to 11 years. And so what I say to my girls is that if you see someone performing a job function or a career that you would like to aspire to, go talk to them. Find out how they got there. And then be willing to put in the work to get there.
Gotcha.
And that's the key. You got to be willing to do the work. I had mentors that I met when I was in college, and they were ahead of me, so they left earlier, and they became assistant county administrators or county administrators. I actually went into this field because of Bertha Henry, who is the county administrator and CEO of Broward County.
Wow. Okay.
And she was my sorority
you ladies
sister.
are kicking butt.
She's my sorority sister. So, I followed her and aspired to be very much like Bertha. And so she had a master's in public administration from Florida State, emphasis in budgeting, and her career took off. And so it worked very well for me. Here in Palm Beach County, I came in as a budget analyst, promoted to director of impact fee coordinator, and then director of financial management. I spent a year as an assistant county administrator under Bob Weissman, and then of his 24 years as a county administrator, which is unheard of, I served as his second in command for almost 15 of those 24 years.
So if there was something in you, because you said you came in as a budget analyst, so that sounds like, is that like an entry level kind of position?
That in financial management, yes.
Okay, so for you to come in at an entry level, and then you're like, I went to director, I'm like, so there was something in you that led them to know, hey.
They knew more than I did.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I actually got favor from a woman that was the impact fee coordinator, and she was in the budget office. I mean, she was in OF&B, and so she said, "Verdenia, I'm leaving. I'm getting married. And I think you can do this job." And I said, "I don't know anything about that." She said, "No, I think you can do this job. So you need to apply for it." And actually, they just appointed me because she recommended it. It was a lot of work because I had no idea what I was doing when I was first appointed. But I learned who were the experts. We had an awesome consultant. He was a professor from University of Florida. And for whatever reason, he also just kind of decided that I would be worth investing in.
Wow.
And so he took his time and he taught me about impact.
Impact.
And so
I like that word.
That worked. Yeah.
Impact.
Yeah.
So do you believe the fake it till you make it type of thing? Like when you're put into a position and you're not really ready all the way. Well, maybe you are ready. Maybe sometimes you don't think you're as ready.
Right.
Because I think others see more than us in us than we do.
Absolutely. And I'm a firm believer.
Okay.
And I do the same. I spot talent, someone who's willing to work hard.
Okay, tell what talent is. Because listen, they need to know these these things. But it's real. Going into 2020, I tell people this, that you don't have to be stuck at where you are.
No, you don't. You have to have a desire to learn, and you have to have a desire to work hard at it. And so, I'm one of those people that I was raised in this tight-knit family. My mom and her sisters, we call them the sisters.
Okay.
They gave you no choice, and they said, education, you need to learn. What you learn, no one can take from you. They can take a whole lot of things from you, but knowledge they cannot take from you. And so, but you must be willing and open to learn any and everything. So when people are saying, that's not my job, they're right. It may not be written into your job description today, but if you take that opportunity to learn something new outside your box, then that helps you build your resume to open doors to new opportunities. And so, as I was saying, when you aspire to hold a certain position that you're looking forward to, talk to that individual, learn how they got there, what it takes to get there, and then that helps you move forward in your career.
And I think we have a lot of people that are willing to mentor. It's just that sometimes I feel, and I've had it myself, where I'll maybe go to someone, and it's two different people. It's the special people that take you under their wing and say, you know what, I'm going to show you the ropes because I see something in you. But then there are also those people who you might be my future competition. I'm not. So how do you, with the mentors, is it some type of way that you can vet a mentor, to see, well, are you willing to teach me? Or are those the questions that you would ask a future mentor, so to speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And, I can almost assure you that 90% of the people you approach to say, you know what, I see something in you that I would like to emulate, or you've got the skill sets and the talent that I'm looking to foster. Would you please help me? 90% or more of those individuals will say yes. Because they're impressed that you even took the time to come up and talk to them.
They're honored that, right?
That is correct.
So please make sure if you, I think this is great advice, and I think a lot of people need to hear it, because sometimes we don't seem to think that people are kind of open. Sometimes people are they're like, listen, I made it my way. Good luck, you get it. But not everyone's like that.
Most people are not that way. And when you find that individual that's like that, just move on to the next person. Don't get discouraged. because the majority of folks will help you.
And another thing, I know you were big on education.
Yes.
And we have people, and I'm people. At one time, I'm going back to school, but at one time I was stuck into this thing where I'm like, I don't want to go back to school. You know, I'm older. I don't want to do homework. I'm like, but then I had to actually do a real self check and realize that where I am now, if I don't get more education, I'm probably going to stay there.
I try to learn something, at least one thing new every day. And I think throughout your lifespan, even out once you retire, in order to keep your mind sharp, you still got to learn.
Right.
You have to have that urge for learning. Not everybody is cut out to go to college, nor does everyone want to go to college. They may have the capacity to do it, but they may not want to go. But I'm telling you, the shortage in the future is in vocational education. And it is HVAC, air conditioning, it is in electrical, it is in plumbing, it is in your basic areas that we need service. Because everybody has gone away from that. But we still need to flush toilets. We still need to make sure our air works. You know, we still need to make sure that, you know, when you click on a light, the electricity works. The wiring is correct. Your home don't burn down because the wiring hasn't been done. And those are skill sets that we desperately need. CDL license, you know, truck drivers that for commercial purposes, they're in huge demand.
Really?
And so you don't need a 4-year agreement.
Yep, learning skill. Yep.
Yeah, you don't need a 4-year degree to do that.
I wanted to make sure because I'm doing a watch party too. Marlon White says hello.
Hello, Marlon. Tell Susan I said hello as well.
So I just wanted to make sure.
And the boys.
I didn't miss. Hey, Boris. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. And hey, Sharna and anyone. Because when I don't read comments, sometimes people get in their feelings. So I want to make sure that I didn't miss anyone. And again, if you have any questions, this is like jewels that she's dropping. And it's so funny because even though we hear it, but sometimes we need to just hear it again.
Absolutely.
And again, to understand that Shauna says, yes, skill, you are so right. And I'm just trying to get my viewers more engaged on education and learning more because I know, like I said, for 2020, our vision has to be bigger.
Definitely.
Better. And what we do now is going to determine how we get there. So that's why I wanted you to talk about the education piece. Now, I know people they're into like the masters now. Like masters are like the new bachelors. Like bachelors are
high school. That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct. But again, it's what your taste is. It is what level do you want to get to? Because I'm telling you, my hairdresser probably makes more than I do. Okay? Your plumbers. When you have to call a plumber on a weekend, they're probably making more than most of us with degrees on an hourly basis because they're getting overtime for that call. And so it just depends upon what you like. I'm aware that my daughter and her friends, one of them has a bachelor's degree. But you know what? He went back. He now has certification in HVAC, air conditioning.
Okay.
So he has a bachelor's, but he's decided that's not what he really wants to do. He's going to do HVAC. And so he's probably making more now than with his bachelor's degree. So it just depends on what you want to do.
Okay. I just want to make sure. And okay, I just want to make sure I wasn't missing anybody. Okay, so now we get back to you. I just want to make sure you got your education, the piece out.
I am. I was raised that way. It was drilled in me not only by my mom, but my grandma and my aunts, which we call the sisters. You have to get an education. And so their goal was to push us to go to college. My goal is to say you got to get an education, whether it's college or whether it's vocational.
Either one.
But you got to get a certificate in something, some license in something, or your bachelor's, your master's, or your PhD in some area. But you got to get that formal training in whatever area you're going to go into.
Now, reading your bio, and this is another thing too. reading your bio, it talks about you're in a lot of clubs. Which is not, I mean, yeah, you're, but it's great. So, women on the rise, people who want to, and because a lot of people ask me, they're like, oh my God, you know so many people. And I'm like, well, usually I just ask the people. It's not that I know so many people, but I know a lot of people. But I'm not in any sororities.
Okay.
I'm
That's
a part
okay.
of, right, I'm a part of a CABA now. I did join something. But I think a lot of people who they ask me, they're like, well, how do you know so many people? I want to get out there more. I want to be a part of the community more. Obviously, you're doing it. So you can answer that question better than me because you're board of directors of the Florida Association of County Managers, Executive Women of Palm Beaches, the International Women's Forum, Delta Sigma Theta, Links, Women of some,
Well, a lot
and
of
I'm
it,
sure you said no to some things.
I have.
You can't be in every club.
My family reminds me of that.
Okay.
You must come home at night.
I know, right?
But actually, I joined Delta when I was at Florida State.
Okay.
And that's been a very, very long time, but I've been active. We were raised that you give back. You know, you just can't take. You got to give back. And so I've always been in organizations that gave back to the community or some other. My first organization I ever joined was the Youth Movement Club of Fort Pierce. Oh, wow. And Coach Bennett at the time was a high school teacher, and he decided that he would teach us about civic mindedness. And so, we looked around our community and we had this one intersection that friends of ours were killed or their family members were because there was no traffic signal in that particular area. And so he said, do something about it. And so, we worked on it. We developed our group and we went to city commission meeting and, demanded that a light be put up. We got signatures. We showed up for months on end. And finally they put a signal up there. Wow. And it's still there to this day. So that was my first entrance to service kinds of things besides church.
Gotcha.
We always had to go to church, so that was just out of the question of not going and not participating in various events at church. But after that, then when I went to Florida State, I pledged Delta. And then as my professional career took off, I joined my professional organizations, National Forum for Black Public Administrators. I joined that. I was one of the first 300, which the first conference was held in Broward County. And way back then in 1982, 83, Floyd Johnson, who happened to be an African American, was the county administrator for Broward County. And it was a handful of county administrators back in the day. So he and a couple of other county administrators, they created the National Forum for Black Public Administrators. Wow. I was brand new, right out of college, and working for Broward County in the budget office. So he then decided that I would work on this conference. And so that's how I got in. And so I have been a lifelong member of the National Forum for Black Public Administrators. Wow. And that is teaching black people that you need to be involved in government. You need to be at the table. You need to speak up for the needs in the community.
That's that new saying now.
What's the new
saying?
At
the table.
At the table. You're either at the table or on the table.
Oh. So we don't want to get devoured. Katrina Long Robinson says hello too. I'm kind of like manning both. Hey Pam, so I want to make sure. Okay, you either sit at the table or you're on the table.
You're on the table. You're on the menu.
So when people ask, and like I said, they'll see this later. They want to be more involved. They want to get out there more in the community. I have a lot of businesses who are like, I'm not really on social media a lot, which you're not either.
No, I'm not.
It doesn't mean that you're not involved, obviously, right? But for the people that say, I want to be more involved, I want to get more community recognition, join clubs, get out there more, network.
Absolutely. And look at your government. See what's going on in your community.
Okay.
Look at their board meetings. Look at their zoning meetings, their planning meetings. What happens to you, and by the time the community is aware of what's going on, the rights have been given away. So you need to stay attuned to what's going on in your government and what's happening in your community. Listen to the comp plan meetings because those are crucial.
Where is that information? Just for people who are probably saying, okay, I want to do it. Where's that information?
You go on the various governmental entity or their websites.
Okay.
Palm Beach County is pbcgov.org.
Okay.
It will tell you the name of all of your commissioners. You should know your commissioners. You should know your city council. And when something is going on, don't hesitate. Pick up the phone and let them know what you're thinking. Because that's the feedback that they need. That's the feedback that your government workers need. Because if you don't talk to us, we won't know what your needs are.
But it's so sad because I don't know if Celicia is still watching. About a year ago, I used to love to say, I'm not political. And she would cringe when I would say that. I don't say that anymore.
Thank you, Celicia.
I'm learning. Okay. But it's so funny because as I was talking to the politicians, a lot of people don't even know what a politician's job is.
That is correct.
So it's like, how can you vote properly when you don't even know the person's job? And how do you know they're not doing their job if you don't know their job?
That's right.
So,
or follow them. You
Yeah.
vote for people because they represent what you want.
Okay.
They espouse potential policies that they can support that will meet your needs. And so you should be paying attention to the politicians. You should be paying attention to judges. You should be paying attention to your state attorney, to your public defender. Are they doing the things that you feel represents you?
Right. And it's a big year coming up.
Absolutely. 2020 is going to be a huge year. 2020 is going to be a huge year for elections, but it's also going to be a very good year for census. And census is important. You count.
Right. And that's in April. Right? April
That is
1st?
correct. April 1st.
Yes.
We've already started our kickoff in Palm Beach County, but we're going to be working with organizations, and I'd love to come back on your show and
Of
talk
course.
about the census.
Okay.
But every person counts.
Yes, we talked about that after breakfast, and they were
Very
saying,
good.
however they said it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I was drinking my orange juice when I was talking, but I was concentrating. 1,600 per person.
That is correct.
Okay, so I got it right. Okay,
That is absolutely
so that
correct.
That's pretty
huge.
So and they use the analogy like everyone in this room. Just imagine 1,600 on the budget.
That's
So
correct.
you think about countywide.
And the federal government allocates dollars based upon census, population, and a formula. And so when it comes to healthcare, Medicaid, Medicare, when it comes to education, how much our school system receives from the federal government, also from the state government. It counts when it comes to transportation and the dollars that we receive from the federal government on transportation, on housing and community development. So it is crucial that we count every breathing individual in our community, regardless of their age.
Wow.
And so it is going to be critical that we reach out to our hard to count communities because a lot of people think, well, they're just trying to keep track of me. That's not the case. We need to know that. In addition, census directs us when it comes to redistricting.
Okay.
And so when we have to redistrict, it depends upon our population. Florida may be in line for another Senate seat at the federal level. And so we need to make sure we're counted so we can get the appropriate number of seats allocated to the state of Florida. But when it comes to Palm Beach County, we also need to know how we divide up our community because each county commission district is supposed to be equally proportion when it comes to population. I've had the pleasure of doing 2 redistricting for Palm Beach County in 2001, and then also in 2010, 2011. Wow. I will not be doing that in 2021. Okay. Someone else will be doing that. Yes, it will not be me. Oh. However, it is crucial so that we can make sure we're equally proportioning our various county commission districts, which we have 7, with the right number of people that they will represent.
You're
So it's-
educating us. Thank you so much. Shauna Barnes has a question. Hopefully you are still there, Shauna. I was not ignoring you, but I'm trying to make sure she does not lose her train of thought. Okay, it says she mentions about skills that are currently in need. Are these skills or services that Palm Beach County is currently searching for?
Yes,
Yes, Shauna. Okay.
absolutely. And if you possess those skills, please go to our website, pbcgov.org. Go to Human Resources or Jobs on that site and go in and see what we've got available.
Okay, just want to make sure. And Pam Mann says, regardless of status, get counted.
That is
And
absolutely
she said,
correct.
yes, even the immigrants.
That is especially the immigrants, because we still have to provide health care to people.
Okay, right.
We still have to provide education. So why not go after those dollars? Because if we don't count our our undercounted communities, then we don't get those dollars. Someone else within the country gets those dollars. But we still have to provide the services. So then it impacts us on a local tax basis.
Wow. I didn't know that. Oh.
You get to pay more taxes if we don't count folks.
So we need to count. Everybody count.
Yeah, absolutely.
So because I remember people actually would knock on your door and ask you how many people in the house?
Yes.
Okay, so listen. April. So it starts in April.
You'll start getting mail.
Okay.
April 1st is the official date.
Okay.
So let's say grandma and grandpa lives with you,
Okay.
or aunt and uncle lives with you, cousins live with you. When you get that postcard from the census people and they ask you how many people are in your family, you're going to answer 3 people in my family. But yet you got other distant relatives living in that household.
Okay.
So you need to count for everyone in that household with you.
Gotcha. So I hope they got it too.
Because if we don't know they're living in that household, they won't get a card. And so they won't get counted.
Right. So if you think about it, so 2 people don't get counted, that's $3,200.
That is absolutely correct for 10 years.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot of money.
That is correct. That is absolutely correct.
So this is how people find out like the population. When you get a population census. Okay.
Absolutely. And then you also sometimes will get a survey from another group that the census people work with, and fill that out as well. Because they're going to go into more detail than the Census Bureau. And then that helps us determine how many kids are under a certain age in your household. What's the income of your household? What do you make? That kind of stuff. So that when we're discussing our average median income in Palm Beach County, which the federal government says is roughly about $70-something thousand. We all know that on average, a person earns roughly about $50,000 or $55,000 in Palm Beach County, and we've got a certain
So my
percentage.
view is probably like, where?
Well,
I wish I did, right?
It's skewed. And so, we have to be able to drill down and be able to discuss these issues with HUD so they
Okay.
can make exceptions for us.
Okay. Now I want to ask you a question, and I'm sure, I don't know if anybody's ever asked you this question. It's a good question, though.
Okay.
So with the day that you woke up and you had your new title.
What did I
Because I was like, that's a pretty happy title. So when how did you feel? I mean, the morning you woke up and you realized, I am the CEO of Palm Beach County. My business is what, $5.2 billion? Billion. She runs a $5.2 billion company, so to speak. Like, that had to be like kind of crazy a little bit. Like how
There
did
are
you?
days I still think that, like,
Whoa! When someone else says it, or you kind of, because you're just good at what you do and you're just you. But then when you kind of just sit back and reflect and you hear those numbers and you hear that title, Yeah, like like that morning where you just like, what in the world? What God? What?
What'd you do to me? Yeah, it's breathtaking sometimes.
Right.
You know, 1.5 million people that I'm responsible for. You know, when we have disasters headed our way, hurricanes, it's 1.5 million people that we need to make sure are prepared and they're safe. So yeah, sometimes it takes a moment, but I have an excellent team.
Good, and it takes a village. I just want to say, Click says, love her, boss lady goals. Vita Chavis says hello, so I'm just making sure I'm not missing. Hey Rachel, hey,
Hi,
hey
Vita.
everybody. So, and can you just let people know? So when they see you stressed, and they see you kind of, it's for a reason because you got a lot on your plate.
Girl,
Listen,
I pray a lot.
Listen. Okay, so we were talking about jobs earlier and getting educated. So when people say, "Well, I want to be the CEO of Palm Beach County," like,
and they can be.
so what is really like what you just oversee and you just make sure that everything's ran properly and you're kind of just it's like running a company, really.
It's running a company. I have a board, which is my board of county commissioners. They set policy.
Okay.
I recommend and implement the policies that they set, and make sure that we've got internal controls that will protect the public's dollars because we work for the public.
Yes.
And it's their revenue, it's their taxes, along with other revenues that come in from the federal and the state level, and there's other special revenues that we raise to help offset taxes, and provide those services for our residents and maintain a quality of life. When I first started working for the county, we were roughly about 700,000 to 800,000 people. We're now at 1.5 million.
Wow,
And growing.
That's like double. Almost
Yeah,
double.
we're growing.
Tawanda has a question. How does she balance her personal life with such a huge responsibility? Good question.
That is a
Tawanda,
good question.
Yes.
Um,
In all the clubs she's in.
well, I have an awesome husband, wonderful family, and now I have a grandbaby that's 3 years old, Lauren, from Shanty. And so, you know, nothing is ever perfect. It's 50-50, or sometimes it's 80-20, or and my family demands their time, and so
Rightfully
I have to balance it, and you do, and God comes first, and my family comes next.
Carl Mitchell says she's the right person. I can tell you that. Vita says, "Hey, beautiful." And Takesha says, "Hi, Miss Verdenia."
Hi.
Now that's funny that you said that. I just want to kind of go off that too. Okay. When you being a boss lady, boss chick, or what they call it, you know, I'm the boss. It takes a lot. And then when you are married, and before you got this position, did you have that talk to me like, honey, I want to be the boss of Palm Beach County? Cause
honestly, I did not.
Okay.
And
so that's a dinner conversation. With some wine, right?
I would have been very happy being the director of Office of Financial Management and Budget.
Oh, okay.
But Mr. Weissman saw something different. And so he decided that I should come upstairs. And I have to thank him for that. I really do. Bob
Thank you,
Weissman,
Mr. Weissman. His name is on the building.
Yes.
Oh.
It's unusual for a county administrator's lifespan is anywhere from 3 to 7 years.
Not meaning they stop breathing.
No.
Oh.
Just them being the CEO.
Sounds like that's a stressful job. Nobody don't want
no. Just staying
Right.
in that position for that period of time.
Okay.
But he survived 24 years.
Wow.
And of those 24, as I stated earlier, I was his second in command for 15 years. And so, you know, you have to have that balance. And so you also need to take breaks. I'm taking more of them now that I've got the right people, I think, in the right places. And I have just an amazing team.
And I like that you said that because that's like I said earlier too about the wind beneath your wings.
Oh, yeah.
Team.
Yes.
When you get to that point, and I mean, of course you have to have a team, but for people who are just entrepreneurs and, you know, they're thinking about, I can do all this and you can't do it all.
You can't do it all alone. It just doesn't work.
But you got to get the right people.
But you gotta get the right people. You must get the right people, and you must be willing to work as well, because your employees are going to see how you react. And if you're a hands-off kind of manager, it's kind of difficult to tell someone to do something they haven't seen you do.
You're not willing to do.
That is correct. And so I'm blessed. I really do have an amazing team. And I'm telling you, even as you saw the security guards downstairs, they are just as important as my directors, because we can't survive without them.
That's right.
And so they deserve respect. They deserve a decent hourly wage. We just moved forward on October 1 of this year, where any full-time equivalent position, the minimum that they will earn in Palm Beach County is $15 an hour.
Wow. That's excellent.
It's, we
And
need
Tawana
to
says,
keep
how
our
do you
employees.
choose your team? How do you choose your team?
Very carefully, trust me.
Okay.
But I also feel that my team should reflect my community. So we need to be inclusive. And I've made it an effort to hire qualified, diverse employees.
That's the answer, really. Qualified, make sure they're qualified and diverse. And that's true, to represent everybody.
Absolutely. Because when you got a diverse team surrounding the table, you get different views. And so if you're receiving these different views, you may come up with a different answer for all of it in order to meet those needs.
Wow, I didn't know that PBC had a living wage ordinance. That's great news.
Yes, we do. We have a living wage ordinance. Now, the living wage ordinance is a little different than my employees.
Okay.
When I taught $15 an hour, that's my employees. That is the county, BC Board of County Commissioners employees. It is not. We do have a living wage, but the living wage is not $15 an hour. My employees, the 6,300. The minimum is the $15 per hour.
She says that so effortlessly. Like, my employees, 6,300. Jesus.
Well, that's what
It's a lot of people. Wesley says, hello.
Hi.
Shanitra says, hello, Verdenia.
Hello, Sanitra. How are you?
I mean, just that's, you know what? You're leaving a legacy. I didn't really do as much research as far as history, but I don't know why it just feels historic.
It is.
Okay. See?
I'm the first non-white male to hold this position.
Wow.
So it's important
So
for me to do well.
Have made history.
Yes.
So
But it's important for me to do well because others like me can fill that gap as well.
So when they see you, they know
It can
that
be
it
done.
could be done.
Absolutely.
It could be done. And it was through hard work.
Yes.
Not listening to no's, I'm sure, because I'm sure you probably, even though you got a lot of yeses along the way,
Yeah, I did.
there are some few no's. I'm sure that
absolutely.
was in there.
But no's should not deter you. It should inspire you. So that when you hear no, but you know that's for you, then you work even harder to accomplish it.
Let me just hello Denia. That must be a close friend.
Yeah.
Renee. She done dropped the verb.
Renee Williams. Hey, Nate.
Yeah, I said that. That must be a close friend. Great, thank you, Tawanda. Listen, I try to get the best of the best. You know, when you have people in this caliber, it's only so much you can ask. But I try to get as much as I can in this hour, and she's doing so well. I told her, this is going to be one of the easiest interviews because really it is about you, and I think you've done well.
Thank you.
With this interview. Lots of information, very impressive, and also just very inspiring. Because, like I said, I love history makers. You're going down in the books, so you leaving a legacy.
Yeah. I'm hoping somebody out there is going to be inspired enough that when I turn around and I retire, they're going to be there to replace
Are you really
me.
Are you looking forward to it? No, not yet. You got a lot in you. You got about 10 more years. You do have a great one. Hold on a second. Oh yes, Renee says you do have a great one. Who does she know? Who does she know that we need to know?
God.
Oh, Where's my shade fan? Oh, yes. But that's true. No. So let me ask you a question, because we're getting ready to wrap it up pretty soon. I always like to know people, who made it to the top. Who inspires you? Or who has inspired you?
Awesome women inspire me. And I don't just limit it to women.
Okay.
I limit it to people that look beyond themselves and look for the greater good of those without voices. And so, it's up to all of us to help someone else, to reach back and pull others up.
And I hear, the most successful people always say that. And it's so crazy because it's a formula that so many of us need that we don't use. And that's maybe why we're not as far as we can be. Like, I sit with people who, they have money. And they always say, the more you give, the more you get.
receive.
The more it's like a currency. And I'm like, why don't we get that? Like, why don't the masses get that?
I
know. I know you can't answer that, but I just always wondered that. And it's like, so, because I always like to, if I feel like you're following the person, then I think I should probably follow that person. That's why I always ask people, who inspires you? Because a lot of people say, like, their books they read. Think and Grow Rich. Everybody says, like, who I've sat with, like, that's like the Bible for them as far as in business.
And I agree with that.
Okay. You're the budget queen. You're the budget queen.
I'm a firm believer in always looking to improve yourself.
Okay.
My number one book, really, though, is the Bible. And then after that, the do-it-yourself kinds of books, how to improve, because we can always improve. None of us are perfect. And
I said that in my speech. We can all be better.
Yeah.
We can all be better.
We're not perfect. And so when you fall down, you dust yourself off and get back up. Because if you never fall down, you don't grow.
That's true.
Because you're always in the same pattern. And you have to stretch and get outside that boundary. And you have to not be afraid to fail. Because if you are afraid to fail, you're never going to stretch. And you're never going to go to that next level. And so you have to be willing to say, fail, screwed up, here's how I'm going to fix it, and here's how I'm going to go to the next level.
Excellent.
And then you got to have confidence in yourself. And then you also have to not take yourself so seriously. You got to laugh sometimes, even at some of your mistakes. But you got to learn from them.
Got to learn from them. What's your 3 favorite reads aside from the Bible? So one is, listen.
I love murder mysteries.
So one is going to be writing these soon. Watching. You love murder mysteries?
I love murder
gosh.
Various books. I love Oprah.
Okay.
I love Oprah.
It's kind of hard not to like Oprah.
Yeah, I love Oprah. And I read her books.
Regardless of what people may think personally, she is just so amazing. So awesome.
Michelle Obama.
Yeah.
The girl is the bomb.
Yeah, she is. Phenomenal speaker.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
And her book, her latest book was a very good read as well.
And it's so funny. I just got into books this year. Like, I didn't like to read because I always felt like I was too busy. So I started doing some audiobooks just to feel like I was in a book. But now that I'm back in school and now that I'm reading, I've activated something in my mind that actually kind of makes me want to read a little bit more. Because sometimes we kind of lose that when we're busy and adults.
That's true.
Like some people are still avid readers. They're like, well, honey, I got to get my tea and I'll sit down and I'll read a book. But I'm like, I'm not that girl. Like,
But that's okay. I went through a phase and I'm weaning myself out of that phase where I wasn't reading anything that was not work related. And when I traveled, that was my time to read my murder mysteries or, whatever other kind of book, Oprah's books or her books to read for the book club, that kind of stuff. I would then read those kind of books, but on a day-to-day basis, no. But you know what? The older I get, the more I want to relax. And so reading on my patio with no one around is the best thing you can do. So I'm learning to carve out time for me.
You got like a couple books in you.
I could probably write some books.
You got a couple books in you. So in closing, 2 things. What do you most look for in 2020?
In 2020, I look for people to become more aware of their power.
That's a good one.
Their power to vote,
Okay.
have a say in who represents you, which means you've got to do some homework so you know who you're voting for,
Okay.
and that they represent what you want in someone representing you. The other is people being counted, because that's all going to flow together. And so to know your worth, because you're worth it.
I like it. And I really, especially 2020, like I tell people all the time, with social media and just this gadget that we always have, nowadays we really don't have much excuse not to know who people are.
That's correct.
Because a lot of things are on the internet, whether they're true or false. But back in the day, when we went into a ballot, we would just see a name on a piece of paper, and we would just check it because they were either a Democrat or Republican or whoever we were going for. We didn't know who they were. When we saw their name on a sign, we didn't know who. We just hope and pray and wish that this person's going to be okay. We don't have to do that anymore.
We don't. Do your homework. Don't believe everything that's in social media. The other aspect that I look forward to in 2020 is that we become more, we have more civility toward each other and stop being so mean to each other, that we love each other. We may not always agree, and that's okay. That is okay.
Right.
But we need to be civil. We need to be respectful of each other, because we're raising our children to be mean on social media, to bully on social media. And a lot of our kids, especially our black males, our young black males, they're committing suicide. We gotta bring the love back.
It's horrible.
It is. We gotta bring the love back. And
It's
we've
so
gotta
good.
stop being so mean to each other for no reason.
For no reason. And also, too, I was telling the candidates, say amen, amen, preach. If you are running for office, I would always tell people, don't wait until close to the election to try to be a people person. Like, people know that. They're not, or we're not intelligent to know that. So I always tell people, if you're running for office, start hitting those, knocking on doors, start letting people know who you are, be social, because you want our votes. So we don't want a person that we don't know, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I'm running for office, I want to, shake your hand and kiss your baby. It's like, come on now. Who are you? Where did you just pop up out of? Because you want me to elect you, and I'm going to be stuck with you for, depending on the term, it could be up to 4 years, depending on who that person is. So you definitely want to make sure you get to know the candidates. And I've had shows, and I know 2020 is going to be crazy with shows, but I give people time to actually introduce themselves and do one-on-ones like we're doing. Because, for people who didn't know you, even though they might not know you, but they still feel a sense of, you know what, I know more about her now than I knew before I saw her, for the people who didn't know you. And this is a great platform for, elected officials to get on and maybe address things that they can address, because unfortunately, some media does not allow you all to speak on your behalf. They cut and paste, and they,
That's true.
So I love it when you all get to talk.
All right.
So
one last thing I want to say before
problem.
we get off the air.
And you got to leave with superpower too. But go ahead.
I want to encourage all of you entrepreneurs that provide services to come in and become a certified small women minority-owned business. If you own a business, go into our Office of Equal Business Opportunity and become certified.
Yes.
Learn. I mean, we purchase all kinds of goods and services.
Listen.
And so you need to sign up for it, become a certified business with us. The school board takes our certification. The city of West Palm takes our certification. The city of Riviera Beach now we're working with on certification of businesses. Come in, take that time to invest in yourself. It's roughly about, it's free now.
Yes.
So you come in and you become certified. You're in our database. So when we need services and you're certified for that particular type of service, we send a notice to you so that you will know and you need to bid.
Correct.
We don't knock on doors. We don't beg you to bid. We just send the information out, and it is incumbent upon you to bid.
Yes, like I said, the RFP doesn't mean relax, forget, or procrastinate.
There you go.
It means to get
I'm loving you.
But no, I'm actually I'm starting to do the certification stuff because it's a list. But I always tell people, and I like to use MC Hammer's. I call it too legit to quit. Because once you invest and you put skin in the game and you start doing all the things that you're supposed to do to be legitimate, it's really hard for you not to want to be in business anymore.
That is correct.
You're going to kind of stick to it because you're like, listen, I did all this work. I'm going to make something work.
That's
but
correct.
if you just have a name out there on social media and you call yourself a business, you're really not going to put the effort into it because you haven't went the full mile. So be too legit to quit and get all the stuff in order. And again, they have everything. Tanya Davis Johnson has been a great person to go for as far as information. And their offices, I mean, like I said, they give you just free knowledge.
Yes.
And we have to use it. And like I said, everybody's not meant to be a CEO, but if you're going to have a business, run it the right way because it's so much easier to do that. Hey, Jerisa, Dr. Barry, yes. But I like that. So 2020, get too legit to quit.
Like that.
We'll talk.
Okay.
So you have to give wait a minute. Okay, here goes Michael Rowe. Professional women. We went to the Bahamas together and had an amazing weekend. Okay, professional women.
Very good.
Guess he remembers you.
Who was this?
Professional women. I don't know what. I'm a professional woman, but I didn't go to the Bahamas. Did you go to your Bahamas? One of your clubs?
I
There's
went
a
with some
possibility.
friends just recently.
Oh, okay. Maybe.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know. Michael Roll. Okay, Michael Roll. All right. So I need you to give away a superpower because everybody who's on the People of Power show has to give away a superpower. And basically what that is, and you kind of already did it, but maybe something, the Holy Spirit will just give you another one, to give to the people something that you think that they need to have. So it's just a power that you feel or you want to give away because you're a woman of power.
I wish.
You are.
I empower you to believe in yourself. And so whatever that is, making a new business, expanding a business, being a great parent, I'm empowering you to do that.
I love it. So you are now a lifetime member of the People of Power.
All right.
So
Lucky me.
whatever you need or information that you feel the public needs to get out, whatever you can give out, and like you said,
Be careful.
Hey, I told you.
Okay.
I got on camera.
I
I
will
stick to my
use-
word. That's fine.
I will
You can
call
use
you.
me. Call me. And especially like with the April 1st accounts coming.
Okay.
Let me know,
will.
and I will definitely share it with my audience and the people that follow me. But I'm trying to give out the information
right.
for our city, for our state, whatever. I'm trying to give it out to our people. So we have no excuse not to know. We can't say that we don't know. So if you follow Katie London and you follow People of Power, I'm going to try to give you as much information about what's going on in our city that I can. Because I think, they say knowledge is power.
That is correct.
And then the second power is action. We can have the knowledge, but if we don't act on it, we can't do anything. So none of my viewers will go and say, well, I didn't know we were having this, or I didn't know that. They can't do that
Absolutely.
because I'm giving them that.
All right.
So I thank you for the hearts, and I thank you all for joining us this evening. And I would just please make sure that you share this video. Sharing is caring. I tell everybody, if you don't like me, love her. She has been phenomenal, and you don't actually sit with the boss of Palm Beach County every day. So I am just at all right now a fan, and just thank you for sitting with me this evening. So you all have a great night, and we will see you next week on People of Power.
night.
Good night. Bye-bye.